all the way. You still want to have some Corla. They say to just cut into the core part way and cut into the core part way. Tear it off so when you can have this shredded look. I don't know why it's important or not, but that's what they say. So you're gonna cut the core off. It's easier this way than trying to dig into it. Anyhow, what you want to do is cut these until you get to the leaf really small, because this is really crispy. It's going to get a little soggy, but this is already soggy, so you don't really want to cut the leaf too small. I really like eating vegetarian now, more so than eating meat. Don't get me wrong, meat tastes great, but it's not the best for you. We all know this. Everybody knows it, but still, like most things, we like to stick to what we love to do as opposed to what we're supposed to do, right? Some Napa cabbage. I don't know why it's specific to Napa cabbage, except for you're going to get a lot more thicker parts in Napa cabbage than you would in regular cabbage, and I guess those thick parts are going to work really well in the kimchi. For those of you who've never had kimchi before, it's one of the best probiotic foods that you can make. Down the stalk, because I'm going to end up cutting long strips, and I want them longer and wider, as opposed to cutting it really fine.
With a probiotic food, one thing you have to be aware of is that it's not good to warm up a probiotic food, because as soon as you warm up a probiotic food past, I think it's 110 degrees, it kills the bacteria. So being good bacteria or bad bacteria, it's going to kill it at that temperature. So it's better to eat raw, and it's better to eat either room temperature or cold.
Don't know what kimchi is. It's an Asian coleslaw. This coleslaw is really awesome. I grew up on it. My mom fed it to me when we were in Korea, and now I'm feeding it to my kids because it's one of the best probiotics there is. Probiotic foods that you can make and have. So I'm cutting these into, I guess I'm julienning them, making it really small so that the flavor can get into each of these pieces of carrot, because it's going to basically pickle in its own brine. But we need to salt this. What we're going to do is salt this, and we're going to rinse all the salt off as much as we can, but there's still going to be some inside the vegetable, inside the cabbage. So we're just going to salt this. It should be a good handful. Sea salt, Himalayan salt, any salt you can except for iodized salt. Iodized salt will not work. Then every half hour for the next 4 hours, turn it. But until then, you're going to put a weight on top of it so it squeezes out all the salt. Now, I do have one that I started about an hour ago. Alright? And I haven't added any water, but what I'm trying to do is get all this pretty moist. What we're going to do is end up squeezing all the water out and rinsing this out, then squeezing all the water out. And it will still be salty enough to make this. What we do have to do is make a brine, or not really a brine, but more like going to make a roux with rice flour and water, and let that cook to make a little thickener for this, because I would like all the other ingredients, the ginger that we're going to put in here, the red peppers. What else do we put in here?
I have it over here.
Okay, she's got it over there. Why don't you go see what she's got? You can use any kind of apple, green apples, pink ladies, whatever, but it doesn't matter what kind of apples you really use, because the bacteria is going to eat most of the sugars away from the apples. So you're going to get the crunch from the apple, you're going to know it's an apple, but Won't taste much like an apple anymore.
It'll have tiny bit sweetness left to it, but yes. That's really the process of fermentation, is the bacteria thrives on sugar. So a lot of times these days, you know, sugar is kind of a no-no and it's not good for you, but when you are working with fermented either beverages or food, you have to have some sort of food for the good bacteria to grow off of, to feed off of, and that is their sugar. Sugar is their food. So by the time the fermentation is ready and done, you will have such minimal amounts of sugar in your food, it is almost negligible. So these are the main ingredients that we're using to do this. So I just got from our Asian market just a sweet soy sauce. This is a specific kind of chili that is needed. No other chili can be used for this, and there's a specific name for it, but pretty much if you look for a Korean chili powder, this is what you're gonna come to. So this is what's used in there. Then we use also a regular soy sauce. Again, this is just from our Asian market. Then I'm using garlic in there. I'm using ginger. So this is how it comes. It's a root, so it looks literally like a root. You just have to peel it, either with just taking a spoon. Super easy to peel off. All you have to do is take that spoon and it literally just takes the skin right off of it, and you have very little waste. And then you're going to need some rice flour. I like using the brown rice flour because it is a little bit more healthy. When you're using white rice flour, you're working with something that's been bleached. And so I am working with a quart of water. So I'm just gonna stick this in the pot. It doesn't matter if it's hot or cold pot, I just warmed it up ahead of time. So you have this quart, and from that, I don't know, something got in there. I have 3 tablespoons of rice flour. So I'm just putting that right into the water, and with that you're gonna have to whisk it, and it's gonna take a little while for it to thicken up. And this is what Victor was talking about. This is a roux, pretty much a thickener. And this dish of what we're making, the kimchi, is completely gluten-free.
So again, like the carrots, you want to shoestring them.
And I'm just reducing it down to get it to a point where it has somewhat of a paste consistency. So that has been boiling for quite a few minutes, and it's done. It's ready. So at this point, what I have right here is I just have a magic bullet. I just have already chopped up garlic, and then I chopped up some of the fresh ginger in here. Just so that it can get a little more chopped up in there.
Regular soy sauce, almost regular soy sauce. This has been sweetened a little bit with brown sugar. This is sweet soy sauce. This has been sweetened a little bit with brown sugar. This is sweetened a lot with brown sugar.
It's thick. It's like a molasses. It really is. If you look in the container, it is so stinking thick. So
I'm adding
little goes a long way.
the salty flavor of soy sauce, but sweetness as well, because I want more bacteria to grow, and the sweetness helps with the growth.
There you go. So in this container, like I said, this is just a little bit of this liquid in there, as well as some garlic and some ginger in here. So I'm just going to add it directly into the pot, and I'm going to stir that in there. This is going to be the garlic and the ginger and the rice flour and water. So from there, I'm going to add some soy sauce. If you go with different brands of soy sauce, they're gonna taste different. So if you're used to using a particular soy sauce and then you switch, you're always gonna want to try a little bit of it so you can see, is this one a sweeter one? Is this one not a sweeter one? Is this more salty? And how can I combat that? Because if you're going really, really salty in something without that balance of sweetness or even a little sour, then your balance is not gonna be, it's gonna be off. It's not gonna taste good. So he's just checking for saltiness, if we need to put more salt in it, or as to if we need to add more of one and not another. Okay, so I'm gonna put in next. So we've only made 2 batches of kimchi, and this was full. So you can tell this probably will make about 2 gallons of kimchi. So it's about half. So I'll probably go through about a quarter of a container here. So I guess we like the mystery. This is a mystery behind how it's going to taste, but right now, being that it's all incorporated there, look at how beautiful that looks. So how you going to like it? Oh, right down the shirt. That's awesome.
Abby, come on here.
That's it. I think that's it. What do you think? Yeah, it added a little bit extra sweetness to it with just that extra little soy sauce. Now the camera person's gonna try some. I think he liked it. Mikey likes it. So we're gonna let this cool off, and then we're gonna add it to all the vegetables that we just chopped up.
So I'm gonna rinse all this salt off.
You're just really just trying to get as much of the water out.
Can you taste it to see if it's still salty? We need salt.
So this is what we're gonna combine into the bowl over here, but if you have too much water in here, then this is going to be diluted, and it's going to dilute the flavor, it's going to dilute the spiciness and everything. So you really just want to eliminate as much of that water content in there, and then you're going to get more of the true flavor of the kimchi. Now I'm going to add the sauce into all the vegetables and fruits in there. And this stuff is just so amazing. Oh, so good. So good and so good for you. I'm just massaging the sauce in with all of the ingredients. So to make sure all of it is covered in that sauce. After I fill it up, one thing you do need to know with fermentation, a couple of things you need to know for fermentation is that you need to keep it in with this. I'm just putting the bag in there, and as you can see, my hand's in there, but it's inside the bag. So I'm just pushing down all that cabbage, all those apples, everything down below the surface. And then I'm bringing the bag up and over, and then I'm going to be adding water inside the bag. So this provides a anaerobic environment, is that liquid staying below the surface and the water providing that weight. So that's pretty much all that's needed. And then from there, I just use the lid that it comes with. And this lid typically comes with a seal, but I don't use a seal. So I just do it as close to the top as I can, and then I'll just put this on here. Now the next step is the hardest step, the waiting. So now what we do is we put this